went invisible again. Always say, there she go. That was the vocabulary word for the day too. Invisible. Hey, if you would be invisible for 10 minutes, what would you do? That's what the question of the day I had for SEL. But look at that beautiful scene. Just take that all in. Take that all in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, our
Just
sandbox is
told them
provided
already.
by
Showing the
Hawaii.
film.
Yes, provided by Hawaii. Hey, yes, 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 yes. So we're already just kind of chatting it up and talking about the energies and this 1111 portal that was brought in and how the beautiful things of energies and shifting and how it's supposed to be so magnificent. And some of us had to ride the wave of something totally different. It was not what we thought it was going to be. And some of us, it was a fantabulous experience of the opening of the 1111 portal. So, what was it for? We talked about it a little bit, but how was the energies for you guys? Ooh.
I say we go with Caddy D first. I'd like to
Oh, I mean,
volunteer someone else.
the for me the energies. The day started off. The energies were amazing. As the day went on, the triggers did start happening. Um, and the deep seated kind of the things that I thought I dealt with circled back around in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was really good. I was real mindful about manifesting and keeping that positive high vibe even through the triggers. And did a lot of with my youngest daughter. We went to the mall and we did a lot of uh, kind of window shopping and things like that, and included the DM as if he was there.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
and
that's very
um,
cool.
and at her age, she's still very much into the let's pretend. And so she was all excited, and we did that together. So it was fun and it felt good, and you could feel his energy,
Okay.
so it was nice.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. April, your turn.
Well, I now officially have a shadow, aka a watcher, an energy watcher. So what I mean by that is, I've been going through a lot of changes, and it's been extremely dramatic. It couldn't just be a regular change, could it? No, has to be all kinds of extra. That's why I'm like, you watch this wave, you watch this piece. Is that a corgi? Oh, how cute. Let's just let it be at peace. Because this 1111 portal was interesting if it started the way it started the night before, which was an extremely long, drawn out, unnecessary argument with another person that really understood that they couldn't be rationalized with, but didn't know how to stop themselves. So I just had to set up a boundary. So that funk I carried with me into the morning when I woke
Mm.
up. But by the afternoon, I was definitely able to shake it all off. And things are totally back in my court. And I feel a lot more powerful and a lot more. But it's just a chess game, right? What's the next move to keep me in this higher vibration?
Yes.
What's the next move to dance with the flow of all of this? And that's where I'm calling on my twin. I've been calling on the masculine to bring in stability, to bring
Mm-hmm.
in the strength to have the boundaries. So I feel you on the sense of calling that energy in and having it sit with you. And so I'll find myself at night as I'm sleeping with my son because he's still co-sleeping, He wants to nurse. He's growing basically 2 inches a day. I don't know. It's insane. But um, he was there standing, watching me, that twin energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually when you see or feel energetics that aren't vibing with you, you feel that tension. And there was peace and comfort in this visual or in this energy that was kind of guiding us. And and it's interesting that it would come when I'm most open, which is the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious or that dream state. So it's been one heck of a portal. I know it's gonna be, and it's gonna take a little bit of work on my part. I wish I could say it was gonna be easy sailing, but it's a work of love. So there's passion, and so it doesn't feel so much like work.
Yeah, I would say, like you said, a lot of battling of self, a lot of self doubt creeping in, old things from the past really coming up and really saying, okay, let's kind of deal with that at this time. I'm trying to see what other things that I deal with. I felt it too that the DM was very supportive. I said he was supportive in the 3D as well, so as in the 5D. Talking to him a lot of times when I was getting stressed out, he called me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." So I must really put out that 911 or that SOS distress out there, and vice versa. So it was very confident. It wasn't like that kind of, like you said, that codependency. Like I need you, like I need my little fuzzy teddy bear. It wasn't that. It was more so of like, okay, okay, now I can go back out there and battle. Okay, that's all I needed was just a little jump start. Like, okay, yeah, I got it. And from that point on, so that was definitely getting that energy from the DM was very helpful. And I know specifically from his end, it went same way. Energies we needed to kind of plug into each other to kind of jump start and say, okay, I can go back into the matrix of things and battle things over again.
Actually, that's a great point. The past came up hardcore right before the gate opened.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was so depressed, like, you know, and it was weird because it was like I was suicidal, like when I was in high school and stuff like that, like end junior high, early high school, and I'm like, I feel like that. That is weird. It's not
Hmm.
even like it's that bad. You know what I mean? But everything was being drawn out. Everything felt like it was just being pulled out of me. But to feel that again and wondering why my mind was doing that to itself again, it was
Hmm.
very interesting. Very interesting.
Why do you think? Let's just theorize that. Why would you think that it feels the need for us to do that? Going back to revisit old things. That is going back to the coffee pot theory again, or is it? What's the need for that? Is that what it is, or am I just kind of oversimplifying the
I
answer?
feel like it was a test. I feel like it was
Okay.
all a test from the source to see what we were determined to do, right?
Okay.
Because when you're
Yep.
put under pressure, that's when you make your authentic decision. And if you are saying, fine, I'll just fall back into this negative flow, yeah, sure. But if you want to like rise higher, you have to be willing to put in that effort to say, hey, that's not me anymore. Hey, wake up, wake up. Like every 2 minutes, I was like, am I still having this emotion? What? Am I still having this emotion? I thought we were done with this. And just going into that because the vibration that we held up until the end of the 1111 portal, even though some of us were put under a lot of stress, like things breaking down in the house, like I had a full on my little video. There was a little shitstorm, people. The sewers broke. It was coming through the it was coming up through the pipes. Like I was just like, what? And all the stuff that was backed up, I got to smell it. And I was ready for it to go down. And what was beautiful was it took a phone call and a couple of, oh, well, let me just put some bleach on this and kill it from being toxic, right? Because once you've had enough of your own analyzation, your own self reflection, you can automatically know what's going to help neutralize the emotion, but it'll still be there until you kind of get that person that helps you really clear it out. And Kathy B is really good at that. I know Bertina's really good at that. You Jupiter is really good at that. Like just taking something that we've been reflecting and just saying the right phraseology to help us fully push it out, like out of our way, so it never fully bothers us again. We got to call the plumber. Who's your plumber? My plumber today is the Sandbox crew.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kathy D, what's your take on it? What do you think from a mental standpoint? What's the purpose of that?
Well, there
What's
could
the
be a
purpose?
couple. If it is a reoccurring pattern that's gone down family lines, it's bringing up that lineage clearing, that the family ancestral clearing. And sometimes it is a test. A test to see if you've learned your lesson and how you're going to handle it. Are you going to fall back into those old patterns, or are you going to stand and say, nope, not me. It's not me anymore. That's not my story. I rewrote that. And that's the whole thing. So there can be a couple different things on why that comes up. And I have found with myself that those seem to be more the things that are coming up, not as much the testing, but the ancestral things that have always been accepted and kind of maybe shouldn't have been and swept under the rug.
Mm.
And now they're coming up, and I'm having to deal with it, not just for me, but for everybody behind me and in front of me, and be like, okay, guys, this all stops here.
Yes. Yes.
And that's just kind of and I have found, though, as I do that and say, okay, guys, this stops here, um I get a lot of energy and strength, not only from the DM, but I also get it from ancestors.
Yes.
And we also have to remember that where we clear the karma for our ancestors, we also there have been blessings that have been given to our families, that because of things, because of karma, because of decisions that were made, things haven't been received or put into fruition. So we have all right to ask for for the abundance that our family has been entitled to. And we have to remember that. So it's not always bad clearing, ancestral stuff, because there's also good that comes from it. There are blessings that come that people haven't asked for, that they were just waiting for. Um, I don't even remember who I had heard, and it was years ago, but just that there's a warehouse of blessings with your name on it. You just have to ask. And so,
They got the
I don't.
baby.
I don't have.
Yeah. And so you bring up a very good point, because I don't think anybody really actually thinks about the
Everything's.
blessing thing. We're thinking about more so clearing. But I mean, to be honest, even on my end, and I do the ancestry thing, to ask, I want everything, even though it might have stopped. It might have been simply put, just a family member might have stopped believing that they were entitled to that. Because we always say prosperity is your birthright, where I came from. And so that being your birthright, you're entitled to ask for that. Even if you talk about from source, you inherit those great things from source. And you even talk about from family as well. But we always thinking about we're clearing. That's why I said also with us with us on this journey, we have to really truly get an
Go
understanding
get me something from the
that
car, please.
um we got to look at the whole total picture. I think a lot of times we get so kind
I
of like
know. I know.
laser focus on one aspect, and we forget about this, like the whole thing. And I couldn't even admit it myself to ask for the good stuff. I didn't think about that as well. So that's a very good excellent point to say that we're
because
right on
we're
schedule.
coming into this whole new cycle. I mean, we're getting ready to start. Timelines are merging, things are jumping, things are moving. We're moving
No, it's
so
fine.
into
No, I'm
such
looking at the
a
ocean.
positive
Thank you.
place.
Mm-hmm.
This is, right now it's kind of, this has a lot of effect on the masculine, but we also have the Phoenix rising kind of attitude. And with Scorpio and this new moon, and we just really need to. And I think this manifesting on 11/11 is just a great time to, we might as well, as we manifest, call in those blessings, those gifts from source and the powers that be.
Right. And then we also in the lineage, I mean, not even just talking about prosperity, abundance, but like gifts and talents and abilities that have been passed on from our ancestors on to us, that, to really just call on it. Maybe something that happened to them in the past that had shamed them not to use those gifts and abilities, but they're still there. They're still lying dormant. So we should call them also forth, and we could be able to use that as a tool of spiritual warfare or whatever that you want to call it that we need even now. I mean, that was just a real aha, eye-opening thing there when you spoke about that, you know. And I think a lot of times we don't even, we're so on the walk as far as twin flames that we forget about even the ancestors too, about how they play such a major role, and how just when they're passed over, it doesn't end there. That, you know, it's still, it's just like you say, they lose the meat suit, but they're still walking around spiritually,
Hmm.
helping out, doing things, seeing things from their bird's eye view. We can really tap into to really ask them to help us with. And so, you know, the clearing of the bloodlines is a big thing that we're doing here, understanding that we're coming here to do something totally different than what our family, our forefathers had did even before us. And, you know, that's the breaking of the cycle. And that's what's going to help us to really create and get into the new age of Aquarius with understanding. That's why we have to kind of get rid of those 16 hefty bags and make things even light as well, as far as we're traveling to our next destination as well. So that's I mean, it's just I know I'm talking on and on, but I just didn't think about that one. So that's a very eye-opening thing. Thank you, Kathy.
No, you're welcome. I mean, I know that I have, my grandfather had an amazing sense for business, just an amazing mind for business. And so I know there are plenty of times that I call on him and, I just ask him to share that. He also had a wonderful eye as a photographer, and so the different, gifts that we also have to remember that, I am him and he is me. So those gifts can be shared between,
Mhm.
that, as well as, with the lineage.
Right. And so, and I guess also what it would be also called upon those that maybe don't even know their family. What if you don't even know your family history?
You
What would
will
you do
get
then?
an instinct about it. My mother
Hmm.
was adopted, so to a certain extent, you get multiple families, right? And I didn't. My my aunt, being the busybody, went and found my mom's mom, right? And she was like, "I'm not into that, but whatever." you know, I don't want to. I don't want to. Oh man, if she watches this and I start to fight, I'm sorry already. Anyway, but so she found her birth mother, and I met her. And before I met her, I just knew I was mystical AF, and I was wondering why all these magical things kept happening. And even my mom and I, my sister and I, and how we interacted with the world individually, I could see that. But even so, if you don't even have that and you just have yourself, there's that moment where you're like, hey, I see that I'm bending for others. What do I want for myself?
Hmm.
And when you start to find yourself, all these things start to unlock, and you start to just see and experience how magical you are and what your gifts are, because you'll be naturally attracted to them. It'll be something that you didn't even think was a thing, and it turns out to be your thing.
Okay.
Often people will come to you for that as well. So they'll be like, oh, well, you're so good at holding this kind of space or making this kind of food that makes me feel better. Or, just saying the right thing. Just when your energy comes in, it shifts for people. And you can take that reflection as well. Even when you bring out anger or upset, because sometimes I have full exorcism mode on and I pull out people's demons like straight out of them. So they'll be very upset when I'll say something and it'll trigger something, and I'm like, "Wow, that's not what I said," or "You're not listening," or "You need to heal that," right? And so it's been an interesting ride for me because you, when you're a child and you want everyone to love you, or when you're out there, just as being a human being, you want to be accepted
Hmm.
and part of a group. But when you find that you're doing that with people, unless the people who vibe with me, they're accountable for themselves. They understand that they're working on themselves. And so when they get back certain parts of reflection, they don't get offended. Other people who are fighting for parts of their ego will tend to get offended, the parts of their ego that aren't helping them. So it was really nice for me to come into the strength of, okay, that's them, that's not me. It's okay that that happened or that you bring that out of people. You don't need to be hard on yourself or hide yourself because of that. So what can you do to foster your own peace or my own peace for that matter, right? So that's how we did it. I mean, my mom's super duper psychic. She struggled a lot, but she was born in the 60s and in the 70s, you know. And so there was a different role that the woman had to play. She was a Marine, you know. She did a lot of stuff that a lot of women didn't do. And so her being that spearhead, you know, you also got to look at your addictions too. Because I found that a lot of people who hide themselves with addictions tend to be some of the most spiritually gifted because
Mm-hmm.
they're numbing out of that. So it's a very interesting little tidbit, by the way.
Most definitely. Yeah, they're numbing because society's told them what they feel, see, hear, smell, taste, whatever is wrong. And that because of, and a lot of times I've heard that because of the life they've lived, they shouldn't have those abilities. You know, so many people believe that you have to be this holier than thou to have these gifts, and which, you know, is contradictory to everything in the Bible, but you know, they then feel shameful. They feel that their lives have been, you know, they're not good enough for it, so they try to drown it out. My karmic, case in point.
Oh.
Oh, hmm. Manifest and can see things. Oh, what is that? Not clairaudio, clairvoyant. Can
Okay.
see things. Oh my gosh. Um, but has to have things in him to get to see them.
To numb that so he doesn't see. Okay, well, that's an interesting thing, right? That would be used as a way of you to be escapism,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to participate in that. That makes a lot of sense for them to be using something like that, whatever it is, whether it's that or shopping, no, whatever it is,
Shoe
you know,
buying.
right? Fair. Oh my God, it's them chilling shoes. No, so yeah, those things, very much so you would use as a cover up or a smoke and mirror, so you won't deal with the actual thing that's before you that you have to actually deal with. And that's an interesting thing. Yeah, and I think even when you're talking about the lineage thing, it doesn't really matter if you do or don't, because some kind of way you will be kind of attracted to it, and you wonder why do you have such an affinity for such a thing. Like I know my family is kind of spiritual; they are spiritually gifted, and my great grandfather was more of was a preacher, so I see why I have affinity for spirituality, and everywhere I go, they always say you got like a preacher voice, a minister voice, so I can understand that's coming through the lineage. I had forgotten about that till Mom had said, yeah, he was a minister. Your great grandfather was a minister. So, I mean, some of those things, it just comes through. Have they seen scientifically, is there anything, April, in which these little gifts things, is there a gene or a DNA thing? Have they seen, made a connection, or either one of you all, about
Well,
that? I know I'm getting kind of deep out
well,
there.
the definition of science refute cannot include spiritual things.
Okay.
So because it can't be measured over and over again, and it's very hard to test. So there's these, I'm using air quotes, there's these rules um, in science that absolutely exclude spirituality. However, they do prove what happens with meditation. They can see what's happening with like genetic expression after doing different types of ceremonies. They can test this. Now we can make a hypothesis about DNA expression that's passed down based on what they did with like anger studies and a couple of other studies in terms of like um, breast cancer and other things. We could extrapolate that. We could take that and say, yeah, most likely you could probably find open expressive areas. But since they're still calling a large percent of DNA in the human being, quote, junk
That's what I
DNA,
thought. Right. That's why I was waiting for you to verify. Okay.
we cannot. At, there's they don't want to say what they know, and I know for a fact that even you know for lack, I'm sorry, but Hitler did a lot of studies about the hidden schools, and so
Uh-huh.
he did a lot of rituals and a lot of magic and a lot of like torture of people in order to harness these special abilities from people. Um, so it, there's a lot of stuff that's underground that people have studied, but nothing clear cut in today's world that's going to say, if you're psychic, you will have this and this and this types of gene expression, you know, and then clairaudience is this, this, and this. They don't do that. Psychic, this, and this. They don't do that right now.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
that's what
really
I
with the
want.
clairaudience and stuff like that, the only thing that you could tell is like your family passes on a heightened sense of hearing.
Oh.
The big joke used to be, my mom could hear you whisper from down the street, and the kids in class ask me, "How did you hear what I said?" And the kids are like, "You just have no idea. As long as I'm not trying to listen to what they're saying, I can hear everything they say."
Yes, yes, yes. That's teacher training there.
And my children too. They're like, "How'd you know?"
Right. What you did.
Because I'm
hmm
supposed to know. Like I'll do that with my son too. It's like pull this thing. I'll walk through a room and I'll be like, this, and this. And if I don't do one of the things, he will automatically go and let's say pour the cup of something on the ground or throw
hmm
noodles all over. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes. I thank you for all you all that's here. I see you all. So, this is a Q&A. So if you have any kind of questions, throw them into the chat box and into the chat so we can be able to answer some of your questions as well with that. But yeah, that's what it came to me. I wanted to know. I said, is there a thing for these gifts or how they pass them down? Because my mom always called it spiritual DNA. Like it's like some kind of way through DNA. It has like a separation theory that there's
Yeah.
another spiritual one, and like you pass on your spiritual gifts through another strand of DNA, and it's that one, and then it's the spiritual DNA. I said, I don't know. I will ask that to see, but she
Um,
always theorized on
I
that.
mean, that makes sense when you think about your soul family,
Mm-hmm.
that how the gifts, intertwine, and how so many of the gifts are the same or similar.
Right.
I mean, so in that aspect, it would make what your mom says makes a lot of sense.
So she's a genius, son. No, I'm just
She
playing.
is. Mama Booker is a genius.
oh yeah, absolutely. Um, she's amazing.
She's a genius. Yeah, that's why she always said that. She said, "No, just pass down through your spiritual DNA." I'm like, okay. She's always said,
Well, it's like how we always have in the family the prayer warriors, the ones who really
yes.
teach that. And when we really allow that to be, um, we awaken that and we start to accept ourselves. That's why I think we have so much more mana, or we have so much more power when we get older, because we're no longer like judging ourselves. We
Mm.
are accepting ourselves, and by
hmm
accepting ourselves, we accept our DNA and our familial stuff. So everything gets stronger and more intuitive. If we're allowed to have that space from when we're a child, we don't suppress anything. So our gifts are allowed to grow even further. And that's why things get just become more and more, I guess, just enhanced even within our children. Like when my kid came in psychic, I was like, okay, his soul entered my body. I had a whole like, I need to sit down. Did you guys see that? I felt the the body. I felt him come into his body through me as a channel. And so
Mm.
I'm like, what's going to happen with him when he finally gets like able to? He's not just learning the body and the mechanics. He's into the spiritual activation. He's already going around, and people are already like, he gives Shakti Pat. He gives this. this healing. When he hugs you, when he touches you, he is giving it. And people have wept, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool, for him to be able to have that space and do it. Nobody told him no. Just like my mom never told me when I hopped in and out of her dreams when I was a little girl, and I would tell her what we did in the dreams. She would confirm, "Yep, that happened. Yep, we did that," and she allowed me to have that. Versus you're just you just put that away. Don't think about that kind of a thing. That's what happens a lot when people are told to put their gifts down. So the same thing would be if you allowed yourself to accept yourself, you would accept your gifts, you would accept what your family has given you, good and bad, right? Because then you know how to clean house.
Well, I think too, where our gifts are explained in different ways, not to per se shut them down, but like, so my family, we're all artists. My mom was an artist, I'm an artist, my great aunt was an artist, my grandmother was an artist. Um, and so, it's just like when I would say I'd see things or hear things or dream things. Oh, it's just because you're so creative. It's just your artistic side. But I remember having a conversation. I remember my mom about flipping out, my grandfather and I at the breakfast table, and talking about our dreams and how they're in technicolor and how we could remember everything. And he said, there's a lot of information in there that you need. Pay attention to your dreams. You'll gather everything you need to know there. And I thought my mom was going to absolutely flip out right there in the kitchen. But well, when you're 87, who's going to tell you to shut up? Nobody.
Right.
I'm gonna
So,
change your diaper.
Nobody's gonna tell you like, okay, yes.
okay, we got a question.
That's
Actually,
what
Tammy's got one.
I seen it. I saw it too. She said it's really hard for me to meditate. I hear everything. How can I go deeper into meditation? All right then. Well, we got the meditation guru here. So we're gonna let April take it, then we're gonna pass the question around. So
I
we're
want I
gonna
want Kathy D to go first because I'm changing a diaper.
oh you are okay, all right then. So we're gonna pass it to Kathy D. All right
Um,
then.
it's one of those things that you've just got to, and I had the same problem when I first started meditating, because I would hear everything and my mind was going crazy. It was like a circus in there. Um, and I can't even remember where I learned the technique, but it's just called swipe. And it's almost like it's almost like that dating app swipe, but you acknowledge the sound or you acknowledge the thought and then you just push it away. Just
Mm,
push it away, and you don't dwell on it. You're just like, okay, I know trash needs to go out in the morning. Got it. I know that was the dog barking. I know that was the kid snoring, and you just swipe it, and
okay.
you focus. Also, I focus on the as crazy as it sounds, the inside of my eyelids. The
Okay.
when you close your eyes, the color you get. So like if a light's on, if there's sun, and so because light through your eyelids, it is skin, it's going to be like a reddish orange. And so I focus on that to kind of push everything else out. I just focus on that color.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I've heard also pay attention to the air coming into your nose. That can help you really the sensory of it is where it's hitting in and out, and that will help you to kind of cloud out everything else that's going on. Doing a little bit of intentional meditation for a little bit at a time, that kind of helps me too because I have a wandering mind every now and then, and so then it's just like really just meditating a little bit at a time until I kind of get that closing out. And like I said, that sensory, really being present with where I am. Again, I've never thought about saying actually swiping it, but most time I just kind of like let the idea just kind of drift until it just drifts no more. I don't have a dialogue. I think when I have an intention of having a dialogue, like, yeah, what am I fixing for dinner? Yeah, I don't have any ground beef today. Okay, maybe some cheese will go back. If I had that going back and forth with it, then that's what
Hmm.
it keeps. But if I let it go groceries list, no back. Okay, the dog. No dialogue. So if I don't give that back and forth, that attention to it, it usually kind of moves on. But another thing really has been helpful is to pay attention to the breathing of the air where it hits in my nose too, and that helps me to concentrate on that as well. For that
And
one.
if it's a sound thing too, Tammy, it can be um, if you listen to you breathing, not as much like where it's hitting and all that, but just listen to you breathe in through your nose and
Right.
exhale.
That's a
It
good.
actually makes a rhythm and it's a natural hypnotic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's the sound of your own breathing because as you get deeper into it, then you also hear your heartbeat. So
Mm-hmm.
then you've got your natural body rhythms, you know, that you can concentrate on.
Yeah. So that's another good one. April, you ready? Are you
I
still
am
typing?
ready.
Okay. Fantastic.
Um, I was listening to what you're saying. All of it, it's really, really great. The one thing is just okay. Take a deep breath and not judge yourself. Right? There's all these talk about meditation should look like this or that, and it doesn't have to. Oh, Bobito. Okay. So meditation looks like this, or it doesn't look like that. I like to keep a notebook nearby. Like when Kathy D was saying, you're making a list. You actually get it out. I write it and let it out, and then go back into either counting, like 1, 2, 3, the box breath, or sometimes I just keep counting just to get myself to stop thinking
Mm-hmm.
because I'm
Mm-hmm.
always thinking something. So
Yeah.
numbers are still enough that they can put you in an alignment, right? Because numbers have their own vibration. Um, Sometimes you can just stare at something that's in front of you until it all goes out of focus, and
Mm.
then you enter into the space that way. Sometimes you need a moving meditation. Meditation doesn't always mean being still and, you have to have your mind quiet. Sometimes you think things in meditation, and that's okay. You know, when you're in prayer, that's when you have a direction, right? Usually, that's what I was taught was prayer is more like an action, and meditation is more like a reception.
Mm.
So whatever you're
Yeah.
receiving,
True.
and sometimes you're pushing out what you're receiving through your own thoughts, right? So you write them down or you get them out of you. And sometimes you're avoiding looking at within, right? And so then I go into the, well, why am I avoiding this? Like if you're already having a hard time finding the time to meditate, you might just say, I'm going to set an alarm. I'm going to do a minimum of 2 minutes. Anybody can do 2 minutes. You spaced out for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? If you've done it with a little bit more intention, that's basically meditation, right?
True.
Mm-hmm.
True. True.
So you can commit to this. Once you see that you can do it every day, whether you were focused the whole time or not, and you weren't judging yourself, you start to kind of get more into it and you find it. And even myself, when life hands me way more lemons than I'd like to taste, and I'm like, I don't know if I have enough sugar to make lemonade, I still let myself do 2 minutes. Yeah, I didn't do the 3 hours that I did back when I was XYZ and I weighed so many pounds and I was just able to reach nirvana in a single breath. Yeah, well, today I feel like I'm gonna slap somebody and, I don't want to deal with nothing. And, the creditors are calling or something, so it's okay to like not always be at the level you want to be at, but you will find your balance, your level, and you will find how to let go of those things that you're distracting you by asking, why am I letting this distract me, or why do I want this to distract me from this? What happens when I go within, right?
What am I afraid of when
Yeah,
I go within?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. When you do that, and also, well, for me, sometimes I don't know if you're a music person. Music is also a good way too to kind of like it soothes and calms the brain down too. And depending on the different hertz that you use, that's another thing to kind of help you like to lower the heart rate. I would say 432 hertz is what gets you back centered and lower the healing, and so you all over the place. So that's another way. I forgot to say simply put music too. So I don't know if you're a musical person, but that's another
Mm-hmm.
tool that you can add on to your arsenal of getting there. Just like she said, just simply breathing. Simpler breathing is too. I mean, it's whatever it is.
And
Sometimes you can't.
And if
You,
you need someone from the outside doing a meditation that's already written, like by me or Divine Sunshine, I don't know if Kathy Beats put out any meditations yet on her channel, but we all offer some really nice meditations so that you can. It's like when you do yoga by yourself versus going to a yoga class,
true.
right? Sometimes, yes, I can do the motions myself, but am I in it to win it? Or do I just need someone to coach me through so I can just be there? And it's okay to be at anywhere you are in whatever process, you know. So, and sometimes emotional stuff will come up and it'll set us back a little bit, and we'll have to start over again, and that's okay, you
Right.
know.
I see Wanda Lee says here, I can't meditate. Wanda, let me tell you, the way I learned to meditate, and this is the funniest thing, is my daughters taught me to meditate. I didn't realize how many different ways I meditated. Like when I drew, a lot of times on a long drive, um, watching nature, and I just kind of zone out. I didn't realize those were types of meditation at the time, but I would put them on for my girls, the ones for children, and they tell a story. So try those to begin with. There's one that I'm hooked on. I love it every Christmas. It's one about the magical snowman. And he comes in through this little girl's closet, and he owns a motorcycle, and he wears a leather jacket, and he rides with a penguin and some other people. And I mean, it's just the cutest story, but it's talking about, and the underlying meaning, kids don't get it, but it's about, being different but being together as a family, and these kind of things, and it's a lot of detail. But so it's almost like story time as a kid. So if like to envision things when you read and stuff, those are great ways to get started, and they're fun and they're lighthearted, and you're not trying to get anything out of them, but they're very, very relaxing. And
Yeah.
just learning to embrace that feeling then makes meditation so much easier.
Yeah, and we do meditation at our school too. And Kathy D gave me the Horizons kids, and they
Hmm.
got another one called Cosmic Kids too.
Oh, I haven't
That's
done that one.
yeah, the Cosmic Kids one, and I do it with my kids, and it calms me down as well. They like I'm enjoying it probably as much as they are, more than they are, doing that. And so it's a really good, simple way. She does like the finger. That was interesting too. Meditation and mindfulness. You're going up and down, breathing in, and it's the sensation of it just going the tickleness of your fingers that helps you to concentrate and steal all the little things out your mind too. So that was an interesting meditation that I like to use too as well. But all of those things, like you say, is good. You just kind of keep at it. It was
Can
another
I
one.
can I say that to
Uh-huh.
when she said she can't meditate? When you say you can't meditate, to me it means you can't listen
Oh wow.
to yourself, to what the universe is having for you. And meditation is as simple as just taking one breath with consciousness, right? Because it's bringing you into the now. And the now makes you the most receptive because you're not holding on to the past and you're not anticipating the future. So, meditation, I think, I think we put it on a pedestal and we over define it as some like glorious nirvana state, but it really is just a it's just a practice of being present.
Hmm. You can meditate washing dishes.
Yep.
True.
Taking a dump.
Meditate walking.
Hmm.
You can meditate driving.
And here's the one I know Tammy does: meditate while pulling weeds or
Yeah.
Ooh,
working
that's a
in the
good one.
yard. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you could do it anyway. It's just a state of being. Just be. Just as you say,
Mhm.
just be. And so for you not to be able to meditate too for a person, I'm not talking about Tammy, I'm talking to the person in the next room. But a person who was able to do that, not able to do that, that means they're always a person that's on the go. Do. So it's now to get into a state of like, okay, just be, just sit. It's okay. Just sit, and so that would
Yes.
be another way of looking at it too. Is this you're in a state of doing, you're in your alphaness. Now it's time for you to pull back to be in your divine feminine, which means your omeganess, which is just to be. And that's what you're also saying underline. You're having an issue with shifting into that energy. too as well. So that's another way of putting it.
And so she's saying about journaling, right? Because she said she can't meditate, so she keeps a prayer journal. If you're journaling and you're getting intuition, that is coming through a meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So you are calling on God, spirit, your highest self, to work together to bring you into whatever it is you want to manifest. And sometimes that requires trusting yourself. More
Ooh,
often than
sorry.
not,
I'm trying to hit the other thing. I'm sorry, that was me.
I don't know
I'm
what
trying to,
happened.
I'm
So
trying to shout out to
Oh.
everybody. I'm just trying to shout out to everybody that's in here. Oh, I can't do two things. Yes, I can. I can do many things at the same time. Stop saying that. There we go. Did I send it? Yes. Well, I got position. I'm hitting other things than I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, people, you any other questions? Any questions?
I know Tammy had another one to ask about
She did?
strengthening her gifts.
Okay,
oh
yes. Hold on. I
yeah,
seen it and I forgot it just that quick. Where it was. Here it is.
I love this question.
How
You
can I?
need to have fun. You need to laugh more, enjoy more, expect less, but intend for the greatness. And
We
as you
oh
get into, yes, when you're in that flow, you just get you just get magical as fuck. Everything
And she is.
heightens.
She is extremely, um, just pretty much from July to now, leaps and bounds on what
Oh,
she's realized she's able to do.
cool.
go.
Very exciting to watch.
Main piece of advice that I would give anybody that's starting off with their gifts is to not question.
Mm.
Not to question and not to doubt. Just go on ahead in there and just believe that again, but whatever's filtrating through you, and you know when it's coming from source or the right place in which you're getting your gifts from, you know, and just go right on to it. Because the once you start doubting, you kind of go clank clank from the source and it being able to kind of move through you because you remember your channel, your instrument, your equipment for them to use. So again, when it comes to you, don't doubt it. Just say, yeah, that's it. Okay. So rather you telling somebody if they believe it or not, it's just not to doubt it because that's when you're allowing ego to kind of come in. But my main piece of advice I would give anybody, your gifts, how you strengthen it, believe in them. Sound like
Hmm.
a Maya Angelou. Believe them. That's it. On that one. Anybody, anything else? Okay, you say you
Oh,
said any other?
I really like just practicing. I'm just practicing. Even if you don't think you have that gift, you may not have it yet, but you can feel it coming.
Hmm.
You are automatically drawn to it and it's drawn to you. And you can ask for confirmation from God and the universe to kind of help reinforce that for you so you can feel yourself, you know.
Okay.
If it gets scary, because some people's gifts can be really intense and sort of frightening, right?
Oh yeah.
So you keep your faith with you, you keep your belief system with you, and you ask to slow down if it's too fast, and you kind of ask for confirmations from the universe, from God, from source, from angels to kind of put these confirmations in your path so you know you're going in the right direction. Because in the brain, fear and excitement, anticipation signal the same types of hormone cascades. And
Mm,
if you think, you can be thinking you're scared because that's what you're used to, is that fear of that unknown, but you could actually be excited for what's happening. And you need to tell your body that it's okay what's happening until you've rehearsed fear for so much that it's time to let that go and rehearse your excitement and rehearse the possibility and the openness for the change.
yes, yes, that is true. Practice does make permanent, or what's the other way they say it now? They don't like the permanent anymore. What is it
And
makes
it's
it?
not perfect. Practice makes.
Right. I know they don't want the permanent. I heard somebody
I
say
always heard
it's
better. This
Right,
makes it
better, right. You know, I
better.
forgot what the word is. It's not that they say that wasn't scientifically something in tune with what's going on. But yeah, if you keep on, the more you do it, the more you become at ease with it. I say it's even with yourself. The more you feel, that's like me starting off with the cards. The more I did it, the more easy with it, the more comfortable I became, and the more confident I was in it, and the more permanent and more concrete and solidified it was. That like, yes, I have this gift. You know, and so nobody can take it away. You hear the baby cheering back there? Yeah. So, you know, nobody can take it away. Nephew heard me. Nobody can take this away.
There
Look
we
at
go.
oh yeah, see?
I see it.
Nobody
What
can
do you
take this
see?
away. Even my nephew approved of it. There you
Hey,
go again.
hey.
All right, we got another question. How do you become more patient? I be asking God for advice and questions, and I don't be really sure if it's just the ignorant part of me asking it, or she got no person of heart, or we can fill in the blank. I think we all have been there. How do you become more patient? You ask God for something, you don't see nothing going on, you don't see your answer like you want to. So, how do you deal with that?
Faith.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a broad generalization. Come back here, Kamakani. Don't go too far. You have to have faith and trust that the universe, that God is putting it there for you. And if it's not there for you, then there's something better coming. So you really, it's like, do you have a choice? Sorry, but do you have a choice even if you don't want to be um there? Do you even, I mean, even if you don't want to be patient, you want it right now, do you have a choice?
No,
No. So
because he's
get
not gonna make it to you faster. The more impatient you are, I ain't gonna send it more. They matter of fact, it's gonna slow
Hmm.
down.
so
Well, and you can also tell when your answer is coming from ego. Usually it's it isn't. And I might have this confused, but it's like a very direct answer. You know, if it's from ego, where usually when it's from source, it is almost a it's like a calming answer, giving you like multiple ways to handle it, but you know, unless it, you know, it's something, you know, urgent, and then source a lot of times can come in and give you a really strong answer. um but overall you'll know the difference between ego. Eh, Prime example with mine, as this all started was, you know, I used to say, you know, is my DM ever coming back? Have I lost him forever? And when I would start getting the, well, look at you. Of course you have. Why would he? He didn't want you when you were, you know, a teenager. Why is he going to want you now in your 40s? Look at you. That was my ego. Okay. And I had to tell Ethel, my ego, to get in the back seat and shut the fuck up. Because that was not doing anybody any good.
True.
And the minute I learned to discern
ah,
between ego and source, it became much easier. It's a feeling, it's a sound. You can even, I've heard people say you can give it the voice of a like relative. If you were very close to, say, your grandmother, and your grandmother had a very sweet voice, you know that anything that doesn't come in that sweet voice is not, you know, source. That's ego, because ego is not going to let anybody use its voice but ego.
Mm. Good. All these aha moments, Kathy D. You're laying it on me. Yes. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let me see. What is it? And from a true Aries that like to burn up a weed, patience is not in our vocabulary. What do I do in order to say honestly? What do I use in my arsenal of understanding how to be patient? A lot of self-talk, to be honest. Um, just like you say, have faith. Sometimes I'm just looking for signs. They help me to calm myself down and say, okay, yeah, it is coming. Um, and a lot of times I just ask spirit and they'll give me a confirmation. Say, okay, all right, I'm calmed down. I can wait now.
Hmm.
At this point, I'm trying to see what kind of things do I use in my arsenal about patience, breathing sometimes, and then again listening to which voice is pushing it, because a lot of times it's the ego, like now. And I know, no, shut up, go sit down over there. So I had to do that too as well. A lot of times ego is pushing it to be some
Hmm.
kind of way. And I guess after a while it becomes experience, really looking and seeing and saying, okay, let's look back at some other past things happen. This has kind of got the same markers as last time. Didn't it come through last time when you did X,
Bless
Y, and
you.
Z? Yeah. Okay, so why are we pushing it and getting upset about it now? You got a point. Okay, so let's just patient, let spirit and God do his thing, or source do his thing, and let it all come to fruition. Because like April said, you worrying about it. I've learned that too. That worrying stuff makes it worse. It makes
Hmm.
it worse. Worse, 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 worse. And so that's why I said again, past
No good.
experiences helped me to learn how to be really, truly be patient and just be, and just kind of like let everything come work and get itself, pieces of the puzzle work themselves out to get in their proper places, instead of me trying to will it to be so. That doesn't work. I noticed that with my energy and how powerful we are as divine, we can screw some things up and put that now. My sensory biological clock is ticking. I want it happening now. And that doesn't work at all. So you have to learn
Yep.
how to really kind of like take your hand off the reins and just be. Some of that stuff is not you all's fault. I mean, it's not our fault, because again, that's how society is kind of built it up for us. They want that instantly. We got answers. Like somebody told me one time, the cell phone helps you to
Come
get
back
instant
this way.
answers,
You can
because
just
you
stay
got the
close,
phone that
okay?
you could just look up something, and we got to remember that again, this is life. It's not same thing like you can pick up a phone and you get your answer instantaneously like that. So you have to really practice the understanding of just be an allowing things to actually come to you, and really truly surrender. That's a part of patience too. Surrendering is part of the process as well. So that's something else.
Kamakani, come back.
Sometimes another thing to do is to journal what you think the answer is and
Yes.
not to act upon it, and then go back and look at it in about 2 days and see if it still feels right. Because if it's right, nothing's going to have happened um, to have changed that. If it's not, then you'll be able to read it and feel it. Another thing I remember, a good one of my best friends from high school used to say, um, he'd say, "Put your worries in a box and carry them up a hill." And
Mm.
we were raised Christian, and so he would say, take it
Come
in the
back,
box,
sweet
and you can put
boy.
it wherever, and you can go up whatever hill, but
Kamakani,
for
come
us it
back.
worked. We would take the box up, and you would set it at the
Aole,
foot
come
of the
back here.
cross, and then you'd go back down the hill and you'd say, God, I give it to you, and you'd go back down the hill, and every time you
Kamakani.
started thinking about it, you had to take it, put it back in the box, and go back up that hill. Well, finally you get to the point where you're tired of doing that, and that's when you just surrender it over.
Okay.
So
Who's doing the yelling? Who's doing it? You saying the ego is doing the yelling intelligently, beautiful. Sometimes it be right away you get the answers, and sometimes I feel like they yelling pertaining to the answers that I am asking. That kind of goes back. I don't know. That goes back to what you all saying about the voice, because I know the ego could be like, now, do it now, and then I listen to the ego, and then it got me into a whole bunch of different problems more than what it is. That's not
mhm.
really the divine truth. I forgot about my thing. Always asking about, let it be divine truth. If I'm unsure about where it's coming from, they have to answer to that. If you say the truth, it's going to bring you the truth that you want. But if you say, bring me divine truth, they're going to straighten up, and the universe is going to give you the divine truth, the truth that aligns with what source wants you to. So that's another way that you can shift your answers out and make sure that it's coming from the right source, actually, as well. So that's another trick of the trade. I forgot that I did there too.
Yeah, and that kind of puts a pacifier in the ego's mouth because it can't speak,
Right.
because it knows it's not the divine truth.
Right, right. It's just a truth.
Hmm.
And it's also like, trusting the answers you're receiving and not wanting, just trying to do what you're trying to do. Like you're going to shake an 8 ball 50 times to get the answer you want
Yeah.
versus what the universe and God is really just putting right there for you.
Come on all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on all the time. Come on.
and especially since we want our own timing, but
Hmm.
everything
Right.
is set up as it's supposed to be. So we get to learn to be comfortable with that because that is just part of the beauty of it. I'm excited. I'm excited at this adventure. I get mad sometimes. I'm not,
Hmm.
perfect as much as I want to be perfect about it. But I learn from myself, I learn from my family, I learn from my intuitions, and I just keep going. And it's like, okay, I know you're going to put something in my path that's either exactly what I'm asking for or, oh, the baby has the keys. Let's not lose the keys on the beach. Can we do that today? Come here, baby.
It's like that commercial with the dog burying everything in the front yard.
Right. Remote control
Come on,
everything.
baby. Sorry, but yes, I just kind of have to, because there's a point where, oh, it's still not here. That's not cool. Bring it back. It's still not here. That's all I want. Come on. And I have to say, you know what? I don't know better than the universe. I don't know better than this orchestration. So let me just occupy myself with something else. Like, I'm not saying you, okay, if you're going for some kind of healing, let's say, healing a childhood wound or something like that, you want to work on it. You don't want to just keep saying, well, why isn't it done? Why isn't it gone? If you're waiting for something, you think that you need it versus something else that you don't have.
Hmm.
If you can just trust yourself that you're asking for what you really need, you'll have the space to allow for time to pass.
Mm-hmm.
When you're asking, why am I need this so badly, that might be the question. Why am I so impatient towards this? If you have patience in your life, if you have no patience, then you just generally have to work on that. But
Hey, what
oh.
you trying to say? No, it's fine.
And
Yeah.
intelligently beautiful. That's a wonderful question that you asked because it goes both ways. When we're impatient on our answer, but then also when we don't trust, when we do get signs and all these
Oh,
synchronicities from
yeah.
source, we don't want to believe it. Um, I know for a matter of fact, looking back at journaling, at just everything, I was given the answer to my whole situation over 2 years ago. And I chose not to do anything with it, thus dragging myself longer along this adventure in a solo path. But as Source and God and the powers that be will have it, the insight and
Come
the
back.
abilities and the strength that I have gained from this time by myself. Um, I probably wouldn't have gotten this with my DM, wouldn't have gotten this far. But there are a
Come
lot of
here.
times that Source will say,
Come
okay,
back
here's
here.
the answer.
Kamakani. Come back here.
And then you have to, listen and follow.
Right. And you got to call it back like April do. Come back here.
Hmm.
Come back here, hopes and wishes and dreams. When I ask them, come back here.
Yeah, because when you're given in not only in journaling and in meditation, but in dreams that if you
Of
do
course.
XYZ, the DM will be back. And you choose not to do XYZ and drag your feet, then so you have to be able to not only be impatient, but also know when to listen and follow what they're saying. Because sometimes they will say, you need to do this now. And that's not the time to go, oh, well, that's just my ego. You have to be
Right.
able to discern.
Yeah, that is true. Because sometimes
And
spirit will be forceful too. Like, get up now. And like, what? Now. Oh,
And it'll
no.
challenge you sometimes. It'll push you
mhm.
to a limit, push you past it, because they want you to
Oh,
grow in that limit.
oh
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah. You
Oh
ain't
yeah.
never lied.
What's
But
that
yeah.
one song? Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Dooch.
How can you protect someone that has black magic used on them?
Okay,
Should I put?
that's your alley.
should should I?
It's all
Should
you, girl.
That's all
I?
you there. Take
Should
it
I?
away.
Okay, one. I'll promote myself, and then I'll promote Ethereal Sorceress. You can get a talisman or some kind of protection thing for them to wear. You
Yeah.
can find out who is the one causing the black magic. Come back here. Where are we going? A wedding? Photo shoot? I don't know where he's going.
He is gone.
He's off.
Um, there's a protection ritual that came to me from spirit that I was debating on whether or not to put it on, but basically they might have a karmic um, they might have a karmic situation where they have to. Sorry,
I
I'm
know you're
literally
distracted
and his
because I'm
pants are
distracted
falling.
too. Like, is she gonna catch up with him? You?
And his pants are falling down, and it's just like, what is
I
this?
done talked to his higher self. I said, if you don't stop and slow
And pull
down.
your pants up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
gonna have to. Hey, can you mute me for a second? Do I have to mute myself? Can you
Yeah.
mute
Let
me?
me hold on. Yeah.
You guys.
I got you. I got you. I'm talking to his higher self. If you don't slow down and let mom catch
Yeah,
you.
don't go crash that wedding,
Right,
please.
please don't. She can't do it, son. She can't do it, son. That's a good one. Yeah, ethereal is very good on working those things, candles and things of that nature. She's very strong and gifted into doing those blockades about that. Black magic comes in so many different forms. Black magic also could be somebody manipulating you to do something that you don't want to do. Black magic is as strong as your belief too, as well. If you believe that stuff, like they say, Santa Claus exists, as I always say on my show, then Santa Claus does exist. If you don't, then hey, he can't do anything with you. If you do believe in the black magic, that is also, I've always been taught when you're talking about things of that nature, is strong as your belief, and that's how powerful it can be enacted on you. So if you do believe in that stuff and that it does have that power on you, it can do that. It can open up into those crevices and get to you on that part as well. But I've also been taught that again, that you put the protection again. You could do what April always talking about, the golden light around your protection, the evil eye, or either Metatron with a shield of protection around you as well. But you also have, when you talk about entities and negative things, you have power to tell the thing to stop. They cannot. That's against a universal law. If they do that, they have somebody higher, a thing, source, or powers to be, that they have to answer to. So when you tell them you're not allowed to come to this, or you're not allowed to touch upon this entity of me, myself, I heard something pop, they said agreement with that. You have to tell them you cannot. You do not have permission to come into this shielded area or into this space too as well. And that's another thing for you to be able to use as well. But you do have the authority to tell them that they cannot.
Now, can she do
Only one who can
another
overwrite
person?
that is source. I'm finished. Go on. Uh-huh.
No, I mean, I was just asking, can she do that for another person that she knows that, because her question's worded, how can I protect someone who is having black
Oh, on
magic
them?
used on
I'm sorry.
them?
I did not read that. Okay.
Yeah.
You can protect someone else, but you might have the repercussion of taking on what they are, what is being put on them. You know what I mean? So it can be turned and funneled towards you, all this energy. I had a woman um, who was just so jealous of everything that her thoughts were poison. Her thoughts were black magic, right? This is a negative intention, negative thought. And if you realize that in the cosmic law of it all, that things get returned not threefold, but tenfold, in the long scheme of things, as long as you're protecting yourself and your loved one the best you can, and you've made a spiritual agreement to do so, if you've made a spiritual agreement to do so, then then things will start to funnel themselves out. The person will be told that golden bubble, if you can make it a mirror or transparent so they can't see you, or it just reflects back to them, because really it's all about thoughts or intention. And if you keep going towards, I know, because it's a hard transition to go from someone's using black magic on them to they're safe and protected, right? So you go and you shift that energy to, I know someone is using dark magic on them and they are protected. They're working their way towards the guidance of protection. they're working towards setting up their own success. Just starting with the thought and the consciousness and the mantra, so that you are not, what's the word? You're not lower than the energy. The
Hmm.
energy is lower than you. And it
Mm-hmm.
and it starts to draw away from you and towards back towards whoever is sending it. Does that make sense?
That
Hmm.
makes sense. That makes
Yeah, it
sense.
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, in some ways it's almost, well, I guess it's not in allowance in some ways, but you're rising above it, so you can't be. That's why I said, if you
Oh,
believe, it's almost still saying on that same frequency, then it can be able to touch you or get you if you're on residing on that same frequency of belief, which is to me again also allowance to a certain degree. Another thing,
what
it's
you got?
always been taught to me is the 91st
What you
Psalm.
got?
So if you believe in the Bible or whatever that has light language into it too of protection, you could do the 91st Psalm on your loved one too as well. Like I said before, Spirit said if there's a lesson that has to be learned by that person, they're still going to learn that regardless. You're just doing your job if you feel that you have thrown love or protection around that person, so that if there is it's a word, not proxy, it brought it to me. Ooh, and it went away. It's almost like you're giving the person like a leeway a little bit. Not allowance. No, it's not that word. It'll come to me. It gives them the ability so they can be able to cushion a little bit of the blow, but the blow is still gonna happen, regardless of you do that. So
Yeah.
it'll bring it to me. It'll bring it to me. It's a word they keep on bringing. I can't hear it right now. It's a better
See,
word.
the thing is, it's like people have done this for generations, and something came through before the portal during the full moon, on Halloween, that showed all of that being reversed, um, and them getting it across the timelines, dimensional space realities in that real time. So even though, because we may have oscillated even in our own lives, accidentally cursing others with our negative
Yeah.
thoughts,
True.
accidentally cursing ourselves with negative thoughts, all these other things. So it takes a reprogramming. So there's a little bit of back coil, but then we're about to shoot forward. You know how you pull those slingshot type things that have a
Mm-hmm.
locking
Mm-hmm.
mechanism? You have to pull it back real hard, right?
Yeah,
you
bow and
go
arrow.
through you go through that, you pull it back and you look at it, and you're like, where was I guilty of this? Okay, I see it. Where were all these other people are still coming at me though, and that's all right, but here in the now I have the power. I do. Click, bang, I have the power, bang. Then you go forward and it shoves everything back in its wake, like that slow motion. I don't know if you ever seen it. I don't know what they do, Wanted or something. They did slow motion bullets and things like that. You see
Mm-hmm.
the waves, the energy that comes off of something that's moving forward. It's stronger than anything else that is coming at it, unless it's something of equal force. But the odds of that energetically doesn't really mess with that messes with my metaphor too much. So we're just gonna
Yeah, that's stop.
come here.
We got you. I'm there. I'm there. I'm there. I'm with you. Tammy said she got it too. She said, "I got it. I got it. I'm there where you at."
But not ignoring it, right? Because it will seed in the back of your mind and just get bigger and bigger. Similar to, what's that lump? Oh, I'll never look at it. I'll never get it checked out because I don't want to know. And then it becomes, oh, it's getting bigger and harder. No, face it. Look at it.
Right.
Anyway,
That is true. Face your fear. Do it anyway. That is it. That is it. Any other questions out there? Any other one? These questions are good though. They really are. They covering a lot of things. The prayer and everything. Any other questions? Okay, while you're thinking of a question, let me throw this in before we get to the part of wrapping up. Don't forget about our event that's happening on 12/12. Make sure that you go to divineunisouls11.co and to get your ticket. so or access pass to it as well, so you could be able to partake in it. We got a lot of good people lined up for it. It's going to be on 12/12 at 12:12 p.m. Central Time. That's a Saturday. And then also it only costs $12.12 as well. We might be running something special for Black Friday, so kind of look around and see about that for you all with the tickets and the pricing. We got our sales that's going to be on there, and then we also have our own Benita for a Beautiful Warrior. She's going to talk about the family. And then also we have our own David from Soul Mission, which is our DM. And then we got Sean as well. He's been on his channel as well. He's going to be speaking. And then we have also Patricia McNeely. We talked yesterday, and she's so excited to come share about the understanding about how twins share the same body, or we got the same things, and we resonate and we feel things throughout each other's bodies as well. And so she's really excited about coming and sharing her gifts and her talents and abilities through our event. So make sure that you take advantage of that and you are partaking in it, because again, we're teaching you about how to bring in the new year in divine order. So we know this year was very chaotic, but we want to make sure that next year we bring it in on like our terms, that it's not like it's done to us, but we also say, as April Williams, we're taking it back, we slingshot it, and then we'll be ready to propel into our next new year, ready and strengthened with all the good resources and information. So make sure you check out in Divine Unisouls11.co for that. Okay. All right. Any questions that came up into the chat?
No.
Nothing. Yep. You know, I was almost like my kids at the field trip today. The lady said, I can tell it's time for lunchtime for your kids. I'm like, what? I thought they were getting antsy and falling out on the Zoom. And she's like, they were so enthusiastic at the beginning, and by the end of the thing, you see some of them up, got their legs cocked up. She's like, I can tell it's lunchtime for your kids. So we're going to end our field trip experience. It was so embarrassing for the kids, but we're going to do that. Here we go. All right, I was looking for my banners, and I was like, what happened to the banners? There it is, DivineUnisouls11.co. That's what I was talking about. All right, is there any other? I was looking for it and couldn't find it. Is there any other last minute tidbits or anything like that that you want to add on as far as our discussion? Spirit leads you into anything?
Okay, so randomly,
Okay.
I found a knife on the
Oh,
beach,
hell. I mean, excuse me. Okay.
Hmm.
like fisherman style, like it fell off a
Okay.
fisherman, right? So we're talking about cutting
Oh.
cords from things that no longer serve us for real. And if you see it come up for you, that part of grace, that patience is knowing that your higher self, God, spirit, the universe, Jesus or Buddha or whomever it is that you're with will help you remove that energy if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, cutting from parts of yourself that are over sacrificing. Don't give too much because it's literally saying cut that shit out right now.
Yeah, I think we got the message there where you swinging that knife. No, yeah, we got the message not to cut it out. Oh, look at this miraculous thing. Wanda Lee said, I've been in prayer for my grandson who I have not seen in nearly since he was 3. He's 5 now. My son just sent a picture through text message of my sons and him together. Well,
Oh,
bless indeed.
that's
Yes,
wonderful.
oh, beautiful. Thank you. Look at
And that's been
God.
happening a lot. I have a friend that had a child that had been, just kind of went off on their own. I mean, not in a bad way, just
Yeah.
very independent, went to college, got married, didn't bother to let her parents know any of this, and was pregnant, and kind of called her family and wanted them to come meet her husband
Mm,
and know about the new baby. And then the new baby was born just a few days ago, perfect and beautiful. And so these things are happening. And this is just another sign that, the timelines are shifting. As chaotic and crazy as everything might be when we look at things like COVID and all that stuff, when we look at that higher power of love, it's there and
yeah.
it's changing, and
Yes.
people are forgiving.
Yeah.
And that's something right now we've got to do, especially during this. I mean, we had the portal, we've got the new moon coming
Right.
up,
No, Sonny. Mm-hmm.
then we have a eclipse coming the
Yeah.
end of the month.
Yeah.
Then we've got the next portal in December coming. We have what is it? The asteroid showers in December
Oh wow.
as well coming. This is really a time that we've got to forgive ourselves. And we've really got now look, forgiving and forgetting are two very different things. I understand that, people have hurt you. I have had it myself.
Oh
And but we have to forgive and understand that, they don't understand what they did. And in a way, if you can ever find it in yourself to say, okay, I'm still not thrilled with what you did, but the lesson I learned from it has made me stronger.
mm-hmm.
You don't ever even have to say thank you, but you have to forgive them for you, not for them. Nobody ever said you had to forget. You can forgive them and say it's all right, but that does not mean you want to sit next to him at Christmas dinner. Okay. Um, so, but right now is a perfect time. We've really got to not only, like we talked about at the beginning with the ancestral things, but we've got to learn to forgive ourselves and forgive those people around us when we have lost our cool, when they have triggered us. That's a really important thing before we go into 2021, because as we do that, and as we do that inner work, those timelines are going to be moving, those timelines are going to be changing, and we're then helping our twin. And it's not doing the work for them, we're doing the work for us. They're just getting some of the residual benefits.
Right. 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 And so again, it's very important that we unload all that stuff, that heaviness in our heart, so we don't take that into fast forward into the new year,
Hmm.
as well, and in union with ourselves or whatever this new world that they're saying how it's looking. Some of them say it's already here, we're shifting and we're the change to makers that's making it happen. But again, in order for you to do that, you got to lighten the load by forgiving yourself and other people. So that's very poignant and very important that we take that and understanding that that is part of the process, as far as us being able to move on and to open up the storehouse so we can get those blessings that our forefathers or our ancestors or whatever had. Because if we're still holding on to regret or bad feelings from the now, the past, or and what we think we're going to bring into the future, that's not going to work. And then you're starting to bring the same old patterns and paradigms from your ancestors before, and that's not where they want you. They want you to do greater things that they have done. And in order for you to do that is to practice forgiveness, to lighten the load, and to go on ahead and do something brand new and different than anybody that only you were sent here to be able to do. Okay, dokie. What say? My son has been worrying the hell out of me. I told him to shut up and be patient. Is patient the word of the day, like a drinking game? I'm trying to say patient. Take a drink. Nah, take a
That's
shot.
what they keep telling the DFs about the DMs too. So be patient.
Be patient. Shot, shot,
What
shot,
I
shot.
found is actually that DM, our alpha behavior, is very impatient.
Yes.
That's why they're so impulsive. So they have so much to clean up
Hmm.
after themselves because they kept spiraling. Like they wanted to be with you. They wanted to be with you, but they did want to equate it with you, right? Because I'm a man, I can get what I want, right? And so they're locked down and they're locked in, and then they're like, oh crap, this isn't the exact vibration I wanted. But then I'm okay, I can do it anyway. I could do it. Oh, I dug myself in a deeper hole. It's okay. I'm just gonna keep digging to try to figure out if I can get myself to the other side. And you're like, oh snap, they they look in there at the bottom of the hole and they look up and they're like, oh Lord, help
I
me.
done got deeper
And
into
then
this crap.
it starts raining, right? And so they're flooding in a hole. But what happens when you flood in the hole is you can start to float and swim up.
Hmm.
And so now he's in the middle of this, swimming up in a hole, but he's still in the hole. So we'll see how this unfolds. I know how it's gonna. It's
You know how it's gonna
beautiful.
end?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank God my DM's a good swimmer. So that's all I know.
Yeah, mine is. If I was in the DM energy, we'd be up creek. Big dead man floating for real
Well,
then.
I'd be water skiing if we were in my DM, energy. So
Dead man floating. That's
My,
how it's gonna be
hmm,
on this.
I would have probably like couple babies mamas if I was my DMs. But
She wouldn't
just
be
one.
swimming alone.
That's
She'd be
not what
skinny
swimming.
dipping. She'd be
Yes, yes, that is not going to work. All righty, ladies. Ah, I love you too. All right, okay, where's my stuff to get us on out of here? All right, then. You like all this good stuff that was given to us, and you like what Kathy D was throwing at us? Pineapple, fishlifecoaching.com. Make sure you go and hit her up. Is there anything? We know she got the hypnosis there. She's working on her holiday specials. Are they ready yet? Or they're
Yep,
still
they're
cooking?
ready. So just email me and tell me you heard it on the playground, and you will get your $55 1 hour hypnotherapy or life coaching, whichever you need, special.
What you say? Hey, hey, hey! You can't beat that with the bat. Now, what am I gonna get with that $55 special, Kathy D?
You get 30 minutes of consultation, which is always free. I always do 30 minutes consultation for free just to make sure that we're both on the same page and I know what you need and you are able to express to me what you need. And then you get 1 hour of hypnotherapy. So actually, you get an hour and 30 minutes for
Y'all
$55.
do. Okay, let me be quiet.
And the life coaching, if you want help with journaling and things like that, we can do that as well. Handling stress, there's so many different things with the holidays, stress and planning.
Yes.
If you get overwhelmed, being able to set boundaries and step away from, Aunt Velma, who always wants to know when you're going to be married or why are you still with that one. There's always all that wonderful things around the holidays. So, and all the way up to New Year's, the special run through the first, because
Wonderful.
it's a very, very hard time for so many people.
Yes, yes. Okay.
So,
Great, great. Yeah, that's really, especially with COVID. And now they're saying, I know here in Chicago, when Thanksgiving comes, no going over anybody else's house, keep it with the same intimate people that's at your household, and that's kind of hard for some people to say, they're used to that big family thing. And that's a real shock to the system and say, oh, I can't hug on or love on grandma or auntie or whatever. So it becomes more isolated and more lonely. So I would say, yeah, that would be something that, yeah, for most definitely, what you're offering is a good thing for those that's going on, especially with COVID, because holidays is going to look a little different
and
this
and
year.
if you know someone that can use those services, tell them to, give them my website and tell them to use the playground and use your name and I'll help somebody because this is such a very hard time. I don't want
Yes.
anybody to think they can't get help because they can't afford it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Wonderful. All right, then. And then we also have our own April Williams made for this goldenlife.com. Golden Lifestyles Unlimited. She's on the hunt for a little cute boy. Yeah, she got his.
The saga of baby on the beach continues.
Yes.
He's going to that wedding. You just wait. He's going.
It's actually a little photo shoot, and he's really likes the letters, and so it looks kind of like the letter A.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you see it yet?
Yeah, I
Can't even see.
see it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, anywho, yeah, I'm redoing my format. I'm in the middle of my second move in a month, and as soon as that's coming, I've got a nice stack of notes for videos and shorts and stuff I'll be making. Some meditations that really need to come out. So there'll be a revamp come before Christmas time. I don't know if I'll be in line before Thanksgiving. That's like 2 weeks. Um, but know that I'm here for you. I love you. I hear you all. I feel you all.
Yes. If right now we don't feel them all, if you are an empath, make sure that you shield. Go back, watch one of our past videos where April shows you if you don't know how to do the bubble, do the bubble.
Do the bubble. Use it back then. Yes, and always we have again divineunisouls11.co where you can get the divine love letter from your masculine, or you can get your transformational. Also, special program thing that I have there where I do readings with you with spirit first, and then we do a Zoom call and we talk about it, and I give you activities Divine Sunshine is doing on her thing as well. But always remember to click like and to share what you're seeing, the great things that we're having, and subscribe to this channel. This is your first time, because I've seen a couple of newbies in the Sandbox there too that I don't remember being on there. So make sure that you do that. Click like and share and subscribe to this channel and all the good stuff that we're having here. And make sure you run right over there to divineunisols11.co and you get your ticket for your access for you to be able to go to the bring it in the divine order into the new year as well. All right, then get us on out of here, Kathy D.
Make sure that you dump out the sand out of your shoes and socks and all other places, especially if you lost your pants on the beach. And pick up all your sand toys, your buckets, pick up any of your virtual juice boxes, and wishing you the best life ever. See you real soon.
Yes, and April Williams.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
Yes.
Mm.
Woo, beautiful. And as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste. Namago. Mwah. Love ya. Until next
Bye.
time. Let me see if I can watch out. It'd be nice if I could move. Hold on. There we go. Give us that scene as we go out. There we go. All right. There you go. All right. Until next time.